I'm Dr. Revels, and you're listening to the REVELSations podcast. Please subscribe, rate, review wherever you get your podcasts, and let me know that you are listening. Drop a comment, be a part of the conversation. This is a really good one today. I told you I'm going to get into some good trouble, and let's see if we can make that happen. Remember, we are all family and friends, so please call me Rev and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell an enemy that you are listening to the REVELSations podcast. The topic of today's verse is sit this one out. Sit this one out. Let's get into some dictionary definitions as we like to do here on the REVELSations podcast, so we're all on the same page. We have quite a few definitions today, and I want to get through them all before I really jump into this topic. So we're going to go for public discourse. We're going to break it down into three definitions: public, discourse, and then together public discourse. So public means relating to or involving people in general rather than being limited to a particular group. Relating to or involving people in general rather than being limited to a particular group. Discourse, the use of language to communicate in speech or writing, for example. The use of language to communicate in speech or writing, for an example. Public discourse then means the open communication and debates of ideas, opinions, information among people, especially concerning issues of public concern that shape societal values and policy. So public discourse is when people are engaged in debate of ideas, opinions, and information amongst each other, especially concerning issues of public concern that shape societal values and policy. Then we have propaganda. Very important word that we're looking at today. Propaganda is information, especially of bias or misleading nature, used to promote a particular cause, doctrine, or point of view. Again, information especially biased or misleading in nature, used to promote a particular cause, doctrine, or point of view. Let's get to it. We know what's going on in September of 2025. We know what's happening. We know what has happened, and we understand the discourse around it. And my idea, my advice to most of us is sit this one out. Sit this one out. Public discourse is causing people not to debate like it actually should happen, and debate can be a good thing, but it's causing people to argue, and it's causing people to hate one another because we're lacking respect between different opinions and actually different people. And we feel like because we have social media, because we have Instagram, we have TikTok, we feel like we need to rush to post our ideas. And that is something that has happened in the world. So if we look at the average posting frequency on the major platforms in late 2024 and 2025, Instagram suggests that most people post 3 to 7 feeds per week or 1 to 2 reels daily. TikTok saying that people post 1 to 3 videos per day. Twitter or X, 3 to 5 times people are posting per day. Then you have things like LinkedIn, which is actually turned into a social media platform instead of a working platform. People are posting 3 to 5 things per day. Facebook, 3 to 5 posts per week. So Facebook is a little bit behind. They call Facebook old people Twitter. Students call Facebook old people Twitter. So there's a public discourse where people feel like they have to post. And whenever something flashes in the news, whenever something comes up in the news, everybody thinks, oh, this is my opportunity. I have a voice. I have freedom of speech. I'm supposed to run to my phone, run to my computer, run to my electronic device, and I'm supposed to post my opinion. And while that is all well and good, and I believe everybody should be heard, after all, I have a podcast. I want you to listen to my podcast. But I'm telling you now, there is some public discourse where we need to just sit this one out. Not engage in the public discourse. Why? Well, what do we want to get out of the public discourse? Are we debating to actually help other people learn and actually for us to learn ourselves? Or are we doing it to argue and argue just to argue? Are we arguing people down? Are we trying to educate people? Are we trying to make people feel dumb or feel stupid or feel less than? Or are we trying to help people out? And then why do we think our way, whatever way that is, why do we think our way is the only way? And not only that, Are we truly able and willing to respect and listen to the other side? And if we are not, then why do we expect the other side to respect and listen to us? So if you listen to the public discourse, either in the news cycles or at your lunch table when you're at work or wherever it is, people are arguing, difference in opinion, and are going back and forth. And everybody has opinions on the latest events. And people are arguing, people are getting fired from their jobs, people are coming to fisticuffs, people are losing family members. When I say losing family members, they're breaking away from family members, they're breaking away from relatives because of these different opinions. And why do we have to have an opinion on everything? Or why do we have to share our opinion on everything? I could understand if someone is being wronged. Someone is being wrong. We need to step up. We don't need to just be quiet while someone is being wrong. But an event happened. Why do we have to comment on that event? Especially when that event doesn't necessarily involve us. Sometimes we just have to sit this one out and just let the public discourse take its place and be an observer instead of a participant. And I think it can be healthy for us because when we're an observer instead of a participant, we can actually see the flaws in both sides. We can then see the good things about both sides. And we can have a more objective opinion because we're in the throes of public discourse. We're just trying to be right for the most part. When people are debating, for the most part, they're not trying to learn. They're trying to be right, or they're trying to, in a lot of ways, demean or degrade the other person or the other person's point of view. And sometimes it's better to just not say anything. Just sit it out. Don't have a comment. We don't have to comment on everything, even if we have an opinion. And I'm not telling you to not have an opinion, but I am saying that our opinions do not always have to be shared. Because when we're sharing our opinion, what is the motive of sharing our opinion? Are we doing it just because I have the freedom of speech? I have the freedom of voice? That is true, but we're living in a world where we know that just because we have the freedom to say whatever we want, that freedom doesn't come without consequence. So you can say whatever you want, but just because you say whatever you want doesn't mean that there are not consequences for your actions. Those consequences could be economically, they could be socially, they could be politically in some ways. And sometimes we just have to sit this one out, especially when people who are engaged in the public discourse are fighting among themselves, a group that has nothing to do with you. Sometimes you just got to sit it out and just say, I'm going to let them have their argument. Two examples. One fictitious example, another a real example. Imagine if you are walking in a park and you see a couple together, husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, girlfriend and girlfriend, however they want to do it. And they're arguing and they're going back and forth. And it's not getting physical. Nobody's being physically hurt by it. That's not your business. You can just sit this one out. Even if they're talking about something that you can relate to, let them argue amongst themselves. Sit it out. Observe it. You can even watch it. But sit it out. You don't need to inject yourself in the conversation. You don't need to pull out your phone and record it and post it. Sometimes we can just sit this one out and maybe just observe it. A great example of how not sitting it out, sticking your nose in places that it shouldn't be, is the example of the late, great Malcolm X. Malcolm X, after the assassination of John Kennedy, made a statement about the chicken coming home to roost. The chicken coming home to roost is the consequences of doing wrong always catches up with the wrongdoer. That is the idea of the chickens coming home to roost. It's an idiom meaning the consequences of past wrongdoings or bad activities have eventually caught up with the person who committed them. And Malcolm X said the chickens have come home to roost. He used this in a speech following the 1963 assassination of President John F. Kennedy, where he called the assassination a manifestation of the violence and injustices of the United States. Well, what happened in that? He received a lot of backlash when he didn't necessarily sit that one out. Some of the things that happened is he was silenced by his religious group, the Nation of Islam. They silenced him. They said, we don't want you to make a comment. We want you to sit this one out. He commented anyway, and he was silenced because of that. He lost his stature within the movement for a while, and they didn't let him do any public speaking. Why is that? Because he was commenting on something that he didn't necessarily need to comment on. John F. Kennedy passed away. We don't have to make a comment when someone passes away. We can if we want, but sometimes it's good for us just to sit this one out. And that's what I think we should do. We should think about it. If the public discourse is getting nasty, the public discourse, you see people losing their jobs, or you see people arguing with one another, and you see people always being angry. And that's what I see. The world, we're getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And why are we getting angry? Because we are being fed and we're believing the propaganda, the information, especially biased or misleading in nature, used to promote a particular cause, doctrine, or point of view. So when people are putting out the information, more than likely it is propaganda. It is not objective. It is full of conjecture. Conjecture means coming to a conclusion without all of the evidence. So that's what's happening. They're using conjecture, they're using propaganda, and they're putting it out, and people are just eating it up and becoming more and more angry and getting on message boards and getting on Twitter and posting there 3 to 5 times a day. And it's just becoming this public discourse of arguing and anger. And we do not have to be involved. We can be of the mindset that I'm going to sit this one out, and sitting it out is going to protect my peace. And not only is it going to protect my peace, it's going to allow me to see the people who aren't sitting it out and see how they really are and see how they function. So think about it before you pick up your phone to post about the latest thing that has happened politically or the latest thing that happened socially. Do you really need to say something about it? Like, is this something that we really need to speak up about, especially if it has nothing to do with you or your cause? Is this something where we can sit this one out when no group of people is being necessarily harmed or injustice is not happening? Just because somebody has a particular opinion that you don't agree with, do you necessarily have to say something back? Other people will do it for you. You can sit this one out. What do you think? Drop a comment. Let me know. Do you like to be involved in everything? I don't necessarily want you to sit this conversation out. Have the conversation with me about how you engage in public discourse. Again, I'm Dr. Rebels. You can call me Rev. Thank you again for listening to the REVELSations podcast. Please contact the show directly at REVELSationspodcast@gmail.com. I am because we are. Hallelujah, holla back. Peace.
Yeah, the revelations now televised. A platform for you and I. An outlook with full heart and clear eyes. Now, these are just my thoughts. Truth on how I feel on each topic I reveal. Please know my toll, I always keep it real. Can't face the word if you can't face facts. For your time, just open up your mind. That's it, just live, think big, now take that. With God in me, this here was made by design. Yeah, the revelation will be televised. REVELSations.